Hey YouTube, what up? Welcome back. All right, in this video, I just want to talk about something that I've kind of noticed over, you know, my times in life thus far, and just thinking about things here and there. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to bring this to your attention and see what you guys think about this. All right, you notice how, you know, folks tend to think that black is like the dominant gene, right? And there's some people who are going to argue me down and probably even cite sources. And I think perhaps blackness tends to, quote unquote, prevail more when mixed with other ethnicities or groups or racial groups or whatever. And I think there is some truth in that. But the thing is, though, these people act as if blackness is just like very, like they act like it's so strong and so dominant that it just takes over the whole entire phenotype of a person, which of course we know that that's not true, right? Because we know the difference based on phenotype and looking at people between people who are monoracially black, right? Between people who are perhaps a quarter non-black and 75% black. We can see the difference between that. We can definitely see the difference when someone is like half and half, right? And we can see the difference when someone is like 25% black, right? And 75% say white, right? We can tell the difference, right? We know the different variations, right? So if black was that dominant, as some people like to claim, then we would not be able to see a difference, right? If black was that dominant, that half black child or half black person would look like a native African, right? That quarter black person would look like a native African if it was that dominant, right? But we notice that, it tends to get erased over time. Like it can be erased. Like black people can be, our blackness can be erased, right? You but just to keep it inside the community, even if you like get with like, I've even seen this happen with people who, one person, like one parent is dark skinned, one parent is light skinned. They have a child, and the child's a lot of times comes out like just like their light skinned parent, even though they have like a dark skinned parent. Like for some reason, like I don't know, because people, you know, I think subconsciously and even consciously, we do associate like darkness with being like very dominant, right? Very strong, right? And of course, I'm not, knocking dark skin or anything like that, but I'm just saying we make those associations. And I think sometimes we associate lighter skin with being like the opposite, right? Being, weak, recessive, right? Even though in reality, it doesn't seem to play out like that, right? You know, I know in my personal life, I've seen that play out. I definitely have seen that play out. I know I have a couple of cousins. I have a female cousin who's, light skinned, right? Could pass for mixed, probably has, quote unquote, good hair, right? Her husband is like brown skin. And like, I've seen their child, and their child looks mixed, honestly. Like, this child looks like is mixed. I'm not saying that it's like a negative, but I'm just saying. Then I have a cousin who's male, and like his current wife is like, brown, dark skinned woman, and like the child that they have together has the same skin tone as he does, right? And his first child by his the first mother of his child is also a dark skinned woman, and that child has the same skin tone as he does, right? Um, let's see. Then also, even when it comes to like Native Africans, I know I have a I know someone. She's a light skinned black woman. Her husband is Native African. Their child, their daughter, has the same skin tone as she does, and like he's straight from straight from the motherland, no additives, right? Straight black coffee, right? Yeah, and then another situation or another example. I have an acquaintance or a buddy whose sister, like, well, my acquaintance slash buddy is Native African, West African, and his sister, who's also, Native West African. She had a child. She got married to a biracial man, part black, part white. Had a child with him. Guess what skin tone that child has? Guess what skin tone that child has, right? That child came, their daughter came out with the same skin tone as their daddy, all right? You know, and also another example. I was like in the human resources. I went to human resources and I went to it went into this woman's office. She's a black woman. She's dark skinned, and I had saw a photo. She had like a family photo, and I noticed that her husband is light skinned, and I saw her children too, and like all her children, I think she probably had like 4 or 5 kids, all light skinned, right? And I just, there's so many more examples of this I can say, but I guess this is just something that I just wanted to point out and see what you guys think of it. It's not really like, quote unquote, a big deal or anything. I don't think we need to be like, you know, holding, community town hall meetings over it. But I'm just saying this all to just say that I think sometimes we kind of we associate skin tones with certain things, and some, like I said, like, oh, the dark skin, we oftentimes assume would be like dominant. And in some cases it is, because sometimes some dark skinned folks have light skinned parents. So that is true, right? But it's not like that 100% of the time. Genetics are kind of like very difficult to predict. You don't like you can predict them to a certain extent, but when it comes to skin tone and things like that, that's a very complicated gene to predict. You can't predict that. It's hard to predict that, at least. Because I'll say, like, with my uncle, who, my father's oldest brother, because, like, as you guys probably know, like I've mentioned before, like, on my father's side of the family, it's kind of like, racially ambiguous and white passing people a lot on my father's side. And I know, like, my oldest uncle, like, he has like 4 kids, and like 2 kids came out, light skin, and 2 kids came out brown skin. Like 2 kids kind of like, so it kind of, you see, it's like even within that situation, it kind of is a little like, it's so much dynamic just within that situation. And, I know this video seems a little random, but I just wanted to point that out to you guys and see what you guys think of that, And also, like, I had like a friend of mine, a buddy of mine, who he did a DNA test. He's beige, quote unquote beige too. Like, his DNA test came back like, probably like 77 or 78%, African, right? But he's like light skinned, right? And I'm like, there's so many more examples of this, you know. How about you guys? Have you ever seen something like this happen in your day-to-day life? What do you think? Um, yeah, I just wanted to make this video right quick. Again, I know it's a little random, but I just felt the need to put this out there. What's your experience with this, right? Or maybe within your family, with things that you've witnessed or seen. Let me know in the comments section. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.